Downing Street, weren't we, as he talked about his One Nation government. He mentioned it multiple times. He talked about his People's government. We've got Katie, a student who voted Lib Dem, Sam, who works at Aston Uni, voted Conservative, Michelle, who is a social history curator, voted Labour, and Liz, a GP, who voted Labour. Did you feel, Katie, that Boris Johnson was including you?
No.
Why do you say that?
I feel like he should include more about what he can do for people with learning difficulties, but people also with physical disabilities, because I don't feel like there's enough of recognition of people with disabilities in this world and society.
He said, we will work round the clock for a parliament that works for you. Two women here who voted Labour. Did you feel he was talking to you?
I feel it's just words. I mean, until we really do feel included, until he is speaking, really genuinely speaking to everybody. I've watched many Tory party politicians stand on the steps of 10 Downing Street and make promises over the last 9 years, and so far virtually nothing that they've said on that first speech has come to pass.
Well, he said he wanted to focus on the NHS. I mean, what do you think, Michelle, as a Labour voter?
Well, obviously I'm really disappointed, but there's a little bit of me that's still like the eternal optimist. So I'm a little bit zen on this and hope that, okay, as you said, we've heard these promises before, but there's always the chance that there might be some substance to back the words, and I can only hope that we do see some of those things coming into light. But I agree with what was said before. There's so many groups that haven't been discussed, or we don't know what's going to be done for certain parts of society.
What does One Nation mean to you? What do you think it means, Sam?
Ending this division. So Brexit's clearly going to move forward now, which is what I think the vote shows. Hopefully that means people can stop having the tired old debates of the divided society, and we can start looking forward about how we work together, how we become a people again, as opposed to two separate camps constantly bickering. I think that's going to be massively important moving forward.
Is that possible?
When I came here today, I was absolutely distraught and distressed, but sitting next to a Conservative, so theoretically we should be talking to each other and arguing, but what I've found is there's so many common things between us.
Yep.
I think it comes down to trust. I mean, I have a huge difficulty trusting what was said just then, because there have been so many lies and so many broken promises. I'm a GP. I've watched many promises. I've watched the 5,000 GP promise fall flat. I've watched the promises of more spending on the NHS, which incidentally isn't necessarily what's needed as a standalone. There needs to be fundamental change in the way we're delivering healthcare. And until I really see him really see him meeting those things, we see him meeting the needs of people with disabilities and the most marginalised in our society. I'm going to keep an open mind.
I feel like what he just said on the doorstep was words, because I don't feel like, obviously with the NHS, he wants to do anything for people with disabilities. Until I can hear what he wants to do for people with disabilities, I don't believe what he's going to do is true.
He needs to demonstrate. He needs to do it now.
Yeah, he needs to demonstrate it now.
Absolutely.
He doesn't just need to say it.
You mentioned 9 years of Tory government. I mean, I contest that slightly. The first 5 years was part of a coalition. Then we had a Tory government, but quickly followed by the referendum and the Brexit debate. And then Theresa May came in and Brexit dominated. After January the 31st, this will be the first time we have a massive Tory majority who can get on with doing the things they keep saying they're going to do. And I'm an eternal optimist as well. I want to wait and see what happens. I'm really hopeful that he means everything he says. I like listening to him. I'm inspired by his words, but the proof will be in the pudding.
I'd like to think...
Briefly, sorry to interrupt, Katie, just let the healing begin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do we want to start that now? What does that mean?
We don't really have a choice, do we? But I think it's about accepting the situation that we're in. So it does concern me that we've got people claiming to be tolerant, but they're the ones actually making death threats and, claiming they're going to go on a rampage and all these threats. I don't necessarily think that that's constructive.
I think the civilised conversations we've had today, where we found common ground, has been
All right. Thank you.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Thank you, Katie. Sam, Michelle, Liz, thank you so much. Back to you, Emily.
Victoria, thanks very much.